The kitchen did not burn people alive. It swallowed them whole. By 6:30, the line was already bleeding tickets, and Victor stood at the pass like an executioner who loved his work. Heat slicked the tiles. Butter screamed in pans. Someone dropped a spoon and flinched before it hit the floor. Again, Victor said softly. The soft ones were the worst. A saucier slid a plate forward with shaking hands. Foam too loose. Garnish crooked. Victor did not raise his voice. He picked up the plate, studied it for half a breath, and let it fall into the trash. Porcelain cracked like a gunshot. Redo. Now. The kitchen exhaled fear and moved faster. No one had announced the new pastry chef. No welcome. No speech. She had arrived earlier that afternoon, coat folded with care, knives rolled tight, resume delivered in a thin envelope without flourish. It listed stars and cities like coordinates, not boasts. It listed no references. Amara took in the room with a quiet gaze. She watched wrist. She watched the timing. She watched how Victor never wasted motion and never spared mercy. "Who are you?" barked the Sioux when he noticed her at the pastry station. "Pastry," Amara said, voice calm, already scaling sugar. First service together meant war. Tickets piled. Flames leapt. Victor prowled the line, fingers snapping, eyes catching sins no one else saw. Seasoning. Heat. Timing. Plates flew. A commis blinked back tears and kept chopping. A runner slipped and recovered without a word. The room bent around Victor like a field under wind. At the pastry station, Amara plated with an unhurried rhythm that felt like defiance only if you knew what to look for. Boon wipe place. Boon wipe place. A dessert emerged. Clean lines. Warm scent. Something bright under something dark. "Chef," the expediter said, sliding the first dessert forward. Victor glanced once. "No," he said. He did not taste it. He did not touch it. "Redo." The word hit like a slap. "Yes, chef," Amara replied. She nodded. She turned back to her station. She did not change the dessert. Another plate went up. Then another. They moved past the pass, past the glare, into the dining room like contraband. A server returned with an empty plate and a grin she tried to hide. "Table 12 wants 2 more. "Redo means redo," Victor snapped, eyes finally cutting to pastry. "Yes, chef," Amara said again. She met his gaze for a heartbeat. There was heat there, not fear. Recognition flickered and vanished. Tickets surged. Meat rested. Sauces tightened. Dessert tickets multiplied like a dare. "What is it?" a line cook whispered, passing. "Don't know," another breathed. "Smells like trouble." Victor noticed patterns before people noticed patterns. He noticed runners hovering near pastry. He noticed the cadence of calls changing. "Why are dessert times dropping?" he demanded. "Because they're gone," the expediter said, voice small. "Sold out." Silence cracked the room. Victor stepped to the pastry station. The heat between them was immediate. Flour dusted Amara like a constellation. Her hands were steady. Her pulse was not. "I said redo," Victor said quietly. "You did," Amara answered. "And you ignored me." "I listened," Amara said. Then I served." A murmur rippled. Someone held a pan mid-air. For a breath, Victor looked like he might explode. Instead, he laughed once, sharp as broken glass. "You think numbers make you right?" he asked. "I think mouths do," Amara replied. Their eyes locked. The kitchen leaned in. "Send me one," Victor said. She slid a plate forward. Clean. Warm. Bright under dark. He did not taste it. He pushed it back. "Service," Victor barked, voice ringing. "We are not done." The room snapped back into motion. Dessert tickets kept coming. The menu bled its last sweet dry. As the final call echoed, Victor leaned close to Amara. "You disobeyed me," he said, low enough to be a promise. She smiled just enough. "And tomorrow," Amara said, "you'll ask for the recipe." His eyes burned. Somewhere between rage and something else, The kitchen waited to see which would win. Victor chose the middle of the kitchen for the confrontation. He always did. Power worked best with witnesses. "Explain," he said, voice carrying cleanly over the hiss of grills and the low thunder of prep. No shouting. No spectacle. That was how people knew someone was about to be cut loose. Amara wiped her hands, folded her towel, and stepped forward. The room stilled in small ways. Knives paused. Flames dipped. "The dessert is finished," she said. Not defensive. Not proud. Certain. Victor's mouth twitched. Finished implies approved. "It implies complete," Amara said. "Those are different things." A ripple moved through the line and died quickly. Someone cleared their throat. Victor's gaze never left her. "You ignored instruction." "I followed the guest," Amara said. They finished their plates. Victor leaned in just enough to invade her space. "This is my kitchen." "And it's their table," Amara replied. For a second, something like a smile threatened him. It did not win. "Bring me one," he said. The plate arrived warm, precise, quiet. Victor stared at it longer than necessary. He took a bite. Time did something strange. He tasted for imbalance first. For sugar that bullied acid. For texture that lied. He tasted again, slower. The room held its breath without knowing why. Victor swallowed. Again. His jaw tightened. Not with anger. With irritation that had nowhere to land. "Technique?" he asked, more to the air than to her. "Clean," said the Sioux before he could stop himself. Victor shot him a look sharp enough to draw blood. The Sioux shrank. Victor tasted once more. He set the fork down. There was nothing wrong with it. Nothing he could tear apart without lying. "That's not how we do things here," Victor said at last. Amara met his eyes. "Then it's a good thing the guests aren't trained here." A laugh escaped someone down the line. It died fast, but it lived long enough to matter. Service resumed. Different now. Quieter. Sharper. Plates moved with less panic and more purpose. The kitchen breathed in time. Victor watched Amara from the past, from reflections, from the corner of his vision where instincts lived. She moved like someone who trusted her footing. Not reckless. Not cautious. Exact. Orders stacked. Dessert tickets doubled. "Another request," a server murmured, sliding a chit across. "They asked for her." Victor read it once. Then again. Name. He felt something twist. Not jealousy. Recognition. Rumors traveled faster than tickets. By the third service, everyone had heard them. A couple in the dining room asked to meet her. A regular sent champagne back. Someone took a photo of an empty plate and whispered. Victor did not stop it. He told himself it was strategy. Let the wave crest. Then break it. But when Amara passed him at the sink, close enough that flour brushed his sleeve, the heat that sparked had nothing to do with ovens. "You enjoy provoking," he said quietly. "I enjoy clarity," she replied. "It keeps things honest." He watched her hands as she worked. Steady. Confident. He imagined them elsewhere and shut that thought down hard. Near midnight, the host approached the pass like a messenger bearing bad news. "Chef," she said. "Reservation for Friday." Victor didn't look up. "We're booked." "They insisted," the host said. "Name carries weight." Victor finally took the card. His expression changed. Not fear. Calculation. Mara noticed. She always noticed. "Problem?" she asked. Victor folded the card once. "A critic," he said. "One who enjoys funerals." The kitchen went cold around the edges. "He requested dessert," the host added. "Specifically hers." Victor's gaze found Amara's. Held. Something unspoken moved between them, dangerous and electric. "Looks like," he said softly. "We'll see who decides after all." Amara smiled, small and sharp. "We already have." The ticket printer hummed, indifferent. Somewhere beyond the doors, a table was being set that could ruin or crown them both. Prep began before dawn, when the city was still undecided about waking up and the kitchen lights felt too bright for honest thoughts. Victor arrived early as he always did, coat pressed, mind already arranging battles. He told himself today was about standards, precision, control. He told himself a lot of things. Amara was already there. She stood at the pastry station, sleeves rolled, sugar warming gently, movements measured and unhurried. She did not look surprised to see him. That unsettled him more than if she had flinched. "Change the ratio," Victor said, stopping beside her. "Less acid. The balance is aggressive." Amara did not look up. "It's intentional." "Intent doesn't excuse excess," he replied. "Refine it." He paused, just long enough to matter. Then she set the spoon down and turned to face him fully. "No." The word landed without force. "Did not need any." Victor's eyes narrowed. "This is not a suggestion." "I know," Amara said. "And this is not a flaw." Around them prep sounds softened. Not stop. Never stopped. But people listened with the edges of their attention. Victor leaned closer. "You think a critic wants to be challenged?" "I think they want to be respected," she answered. "Those are not the same thing." "You are gambling with my kitchen." "I am protecting the dish," Amara said. "And your name." That did it. The line tightened. Victor felt something hot rise in his chest, familiar and old. "You don't get to decide that," he said. "You're new." "I'm prepared," she replied. He laughed, sharp and humorless. "By what measure?" "By history," Amara said. The word cracked something open. Victor's hand stilled on the counter. "Be careful." "I am," she said. Her voice softened, not with fear, but with intention. "That's why I know where you break." Silence widened. She did not rush the next words. She did not dramatize them. She let them exist. "I trained under Marceline Routh." The name moved through the kitchen like a ghost that knew the way. Victor stepped back half a pace before he caught himself. His face did not change, but something behind his eyes did. "She taught me restraint," Amara continued. "And courage. And how to finish a dish even when someone louder tells you it is wrong." "You don't know what you're talking about," Victor said. "I know she trusted you," Amara replied. "And you humiliated her in front of investors. You called her work sentimental. You said the market wanted sharper edges. When the reviews came in thin, you walked away. She didn't." Victor's jaw clenched. The kitchen felt too small. "She disappeared," Amara said. "Not because she lacks skill. Because she believed you." Someone dropped a pan. No one bent to pick it up. Victor stared at Amara, seeing her for the first time without the fog of authority. He saw the steadiness. The quiet fury held like a blade in a sheath. "You studied me," he said. "I studied your failures," she replied. "Your fear of softness. Your habit of cutting before you listen. Your need to win the room." Beep. "And I studied what you lost." Victor turned away first. Prep continued. Faster now. Tighter. The kitchen hummed with a tension that felt like a held breath. Victor moved through stations, correcting, tasting, adjusting. He avoided pastry. When he could no longer avoid it, he reached for the bowl again. "Last chance," he said, fingers poised to alter the balance. "Standards." Amara placed her hand over his wrist. Not hard. Not tentative. Firm. "Don't," she said. Contact sparked. Not electric. Grounding. "This dish is finished," she said quietly. "If you change it now, you prove everything she warned me about." Victor pulled his hand back. His pulse thudded loud enough to hear. He wanted to argue, to assert, to dominate. He wanted something else too, and that frightened him more. The critic arrived on time. The dining room shifted. Chairs aligned themselves straighter. Servers smoothed invisible creases. Victor watched from the pass as the man took his seat, posture relaxed, eyes alert. "He's ready for dessert," the expediter said later, voice barely above a whisper. Victor looked at the plate. Perfect. Unyielding. Amara stood beside him. Blows. Not touching. If it fails, she said. It fails honestly. Victor picked up the plate. He hesitated. Then he sent it. The doors swung closed behind it, sealing the moment away from his control. Minutes stretched. Each second landed heavy. Victor wiped the pass twice without realizing it. He watched the dining room through reflections and glass. He made a decision then. Quiet. Dangerous. He took off his coat. Gasps rippled behind him. Chef, someone whispered. He did not answer. He walked into the dining room himself, steps measured, expression unreadable. He did not approach the table. He watched from a distance, heart beating a rhythm he did not recognize. The critic tasted. Once. Again. Victor's breath caught. He did not know whether he had just saved his legacy or ended it. Only that he had finally stopped running from the grave he dug long ago. Behind him in the doorway, Amara watched him watch the table. Their eyes met across the room. Something passed between them, equal parts challenge and trust. The future balanced on a fork. The morning after the review broke, the kitchen felt like a held note that refused to resolve. No shouting. No slammed pans. No celebratory chaos. Just the quiet hum of a place relearning its own shape. Victor read the review alone. He did not do it at the pass. He did not summon the staff. He sat at the prep table long after dawn, sleeves rolled, coffee gone cold, eyes tracing sentences that refused to flatter him the way they once had. The critic had not crowned a king. The critic had praised balance. The word appeared twice. Not brilliance. Not dominance. Balance. A kitchen that listened to itself. A menu that spoke without shouting. A final line that landed harder than any insult ever had. Dessert completes the experience rather than concluding it. Victor folded the paper carefully. His hands did not shake. But something inside him shifted, slow and irrevocable. By noon, the reservations board told the rest of the story. Guests circled one item in ink. Servers prepped explanations they no longer needed. The dessert had stopped being a dish and become a reason. It eclipsed everything. Not loudly. Not rebelliously. Simply existed, complete, and the room bent around it. Victor did not remove it from the menu. He adjusted nothing. Service began earlier than usual. The kitchen filled with heat and motion, but something fundamental had changed. The edge of fear dulled. People spoke more quietly, more clearly. Corrections came without venom. Plates moved with intent instead of panic. Victor noticed everything. He noticed how cooks stood straighter when Amara passed. How servers said her name without lowering their voices. How the pass no longer felt like a battleground, but a meeting place. He tasted her dessert again before service. Lowly. He did not look for flaws this time. He let it be what it was. It still did not yield. The first dessert ticket came in before the first appetizer left the pass. Then another. Then 3 more. Pace it, Victor said automatically. We are, the expediter replied. Not afraid. Victor watched Amara work. She moved with the same precision she always had, but there was a new ease in her shoulders, a rhythm that matched the room. She did not look at him. She did not need to. When she did speak, it was to clarify, not to defend. 2 more in 4, she said. Confirmed, Victor replied. The exchange landed cleanly. No spark. No challenge. That unsettled him more than defiance ever had. Mid-service, Victor felt it. The old reflex. The urge to reassert, to remind the room whose name hung over the door. His jaw tightened. His voice sharpened on a call that did not require it. A line cook flinched. Amara looked up. Not accusing. Not angry. Just present. The urge broke. Victor turned away, breath measured, and kept the line moving. The rage that once obeyed him now slipped, unable to find purchase. The critic returned 2 weeks later. Unannounced. Sat at the same table. Ordered the same dessert. Victor did not intervene. He did not hover. He let the room do what it had learned to do. After service, when the last plate left the pass and the kitchen exhaled, Victor motioned Amara over. "Walk with me," he said. She followed him to the quiet corner near dry storage, where the hum softened and voices could not intrude. He leaned against the steel counter, arms crossed, studying her like a problem that had stopped asking to be solved. "You've won," he said. Amara blinked. "Once. I didn't compete," she replied. Victor exhaled through his nose. "You changed the center of gravity." "I took up space," she said. "Those are different things." He searched her face for triumph. "Found none. Only resolve. Only clarity." "People come for you now," Victor said. "They say your name." "They come for the work," Amara answered. "Names follow." "You could take this kitchen," he said. "If you wanted." The words surprised him as much as they did her. Amara's expression softened, not with desire, but with understanding. "I never wanted control," she said. "I wanted room." Victor laughed quietly. "Not sharp. Not bitter. Tired. And equality feels like loss," he said. "It feels like heat," she replied. "Same temperature. Same burn." Silence settled between them. "Not heavy. Honest." Victor nodded once. He did not apologize. He did not need to. Something older than apology passed between them. Service the next night moved like water. Victor stayed at the pass. Focused. Present. He corrected, tasted, adjusted. He did not dominate. He did not retreat. Amara plated. Finished. When dessert tickets stacked high, she did not hand them off. She walked them herself. Through the swinging doors. Into the dining room. Plates balanced, steps steady. Servers stepped aside without being told. Victor watched her go. Not as rebellion. Not as spectacle. As routine. The kitchen did not fall silent. Did not erupt. It simply continued, each station aware of its role, its worth. Victor remained where he was, hands resting on steel, eyes forward. The rage that once ruled him stood quiet, stripped of purpose. For the first time, the heat did not belong to one person. It belonged to the room. The kitchen after midnight felt larger than it ever did during service. Without voices, without orders snapping through the air, the space stretched and echoed, steel counters gleaming like exposed nerve. The ovens still breathed warmth, a low animal pulse, and the smell of sugar and butter lingered as if the night refused to let go. Victor stayed because leaving felt like surrender. Amara stayed because the work was not finished. They did not acknowledge this symmetry. They moved around it. Victor stood at the prep table, jacket off, sleeves rolled, breaking down citrus with practiced speed. The knife whispered against the board. He worked to keep his hands busy, his mind anchored. Silence pressed in anyway. Amara worked 2 stations over, recalibrating measurements for the morning. Flour dusted the counter, the faintest constellation clinging to her skin. She moved with care but not hesitation. Every motion carried intent. The distance between them was functional at first. Enough space to pass. Enough room to avoid collision. Then Victor reached for salt at the same time she reached for sugar. Their hands brushed. It was nothing. Less than nothing. An accident measured in fractions of a second. Neither apologized. Victor withdrew his hand and returned to his knife, pulse jumping in a way that irritated him. He focused harder, cutting faster, the rhythm sharpening. Amara shifted stations closer now, because the scale she needed lived there. She did not comment. She did not look at him. Her presence altered the air regardless. Minutes passed. And more. The ovens exhaled again. Heat rolling across the floor. Victor felt it on his forearms, a familiar burn that usually steadied him. Tonight it only amplified awareness. Every sound landed sharper. The scrape of metal. The soft thud of dough. The way Amara exhaled when she concentrated. He told himself this was nothing new. Kitchens ran on proximity. Bodies learned to move together or failed. This was not that. Amara reached for a bowl behind him. "Behind," she said quietly. Victor stepped aside. Not far enough. Her shoulder brushed his back. Flour smeared faintly against his sleeve. He froze. He froze. Neither moved for a beat too long. Sorry, she said, though the word carried no urgency. It's fine, Victor replied, though his voice came out lower than intended. She passed him, close enough that he caught the warmth of her skin, the clean scent of sugar and citrus. When she reached the counter, she did not rush to create distance. She resumed work as if nothing had happened. Victor's jaw tightened. He shifted position, eyes catching on her hands as she worked. Confident. Precise. He noticed a minor flaw before he could stop himself. Your fold, he said. The instinct escaped him fully formed. You're overworking it. Mara paused. Slowly, she turned to face him. Her expression held surprise, then something else. Consideration. She did not bristle. She did not defend. She stepped closer, bringing the bowl between them. Show me. Victor hesitated. This was a line. He knew it. Correction implied authority. Authority invited friction. Still he reached out. He adjusted her grip, guiding her wrist, his fingers warm against hers. The motion was small. Necessary. Correct. She allowed it. The silence thickened. Victor's hand lingered half a second longer than required. Long enough to register the heat of her skin, the steadiness of her pulse. Long enough for the choice to exist. Amara's breath caught. Not sharply. Just enough. When he withdrew his hand, neither spoke. They stood closer now, bodies aligned by work, by habit, by something neither had named. The ovens hummed behind them. The clock ticked louder than it should have. Victor became acutely aware of how little space remained between them. Inches. A fraction of a step. He could feel the warmth of her without touching her. Feel it where it did not belong. Amara looked up at him. Their eyes locked. The moment stretched, thin as wire. He could see the reflection of the kitchen lights in her gaze, could feel the question neither of them asked. He did not step back. Neither did she. Their breaths mingled. Not intimate. Not yet. Just close enough to know what crossing would cost. Victor broke first. This is dangerous, he said, voice steady with effort. Kitchens don't survive this. Amara did not look away. They don't survive ownership, she replied. That's different. You think I want control, he said. I think you understand it, she answered. That doesn't mean you're chasing it. He studied her face, the calm resolve there, the absence of calculation. It unsettled him more than desire would have. Lines matter, he said. They keep the work clean. They keep people afraid, she replied. Only when someone is trying to keep something. Silence fell again, heavier this time. Victor stepped back. Not in retreat. In restraint. Amara watched him do it. Something passed through her expression, not disappointment, not relief. Recognition. They returned to their stations without comment. The rest of the prep passed in disciplined quiet. No more accidents. No more brushes of skin. They moved like professionals who knew the cost of mistakes. When the last container was sealed and the lights dimmed, Victor washed his hands at the sink. Amara wiped her station clean, methodical, thorough. Tomorrow, Victor said, not looking at her. Yes, Amara replied. Nothing else needed to be said. They left separately. The next morning the kitchen filled again. Noise returned. Heat rose. Orders stacked. Victor took his place at the pass. Amara set up her station. They did not look at each other at first. But awareness lived between them now, solid and undeniable. Not acted on. Not dismissed. Held. Choosing not to cross the line became its own discipline. And discipline, Victor knew, was a form of control that did not require force. The heat remained. Unresolved. Waiting.